Hey, welcome back to the Get Out Debt Guy show. I'm Steve Rhode, the old, maybe wise? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Get Out Debt Guy. I've been around for a long time. Been doing this since 1994, before some of you were even born. And with me, as always, is Damon Day. Say hello, Damon. He's the new,
everyone.
fresher Get Out Debt Guy who will be around long after I am gone.
when you say the wise, or sometimes you say decrepit, I always think of the farmer's commercial what's the thing? He goes, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, or something like that.
Well, that is true. I've seen more my share of things or two. That's for sure.
Steve knows stuff.
Well, Damon's going to carry the torch after I'm gone. So, Damon, we're back this week talking about debt as usual, and I've got to admit it's been a tough day for me because it's tough in the debt world. People don't really know what it's like to be a consultant like you and like me and research all this stuff. Sometimes
it's depressing as fuck, Steve.
And sometimes I just feel like I'm a septic tank cleaner, just in there all the time. Just, oh my God.
I try my best not to be a Debbie Downer. I mean, I enjoy talking to clients. I mean, that actually picks me up. That kind
I love saving
recharges
people.
my batteries.
Yeah.
That's the recharge part. But the week after week after week of this, what's going on in the economy and how people are just drowning. And I almost feel like we repeat so much of the same stuff, that reoccurring themes on these podcasts, but it's just like shit gets worse every week. And every week I feel like I'm like running around going, you got to get out of debt because this is happening and this is happening and this is going to screw you. And this week we have another week of shit that's going to screw you.
I did a bunch of research since the last podcast because I was really curious. This is a problem that I have been unable to solve since I started helping people in 1994. In fact, the funny thing about it is I had the answer to this problem in 1995. I figured it out way back then. But here's the problem. How do you get people to wake up and, do something about their financial condition before they get hit in the face? So the problem is the conclusion I came up with in 1995 was I might as well be trying to host a herpes club. Because nobody wants to join the herpes club and nobody wants to pay attention to credit, debt, money, all this other stuff that we talk about until they're in a deep panic. And honest to God, all the research I've done on this over the years, how can I get people to be more aware? How can I get people to want to know more? There's just no good answer.
Well, my buddy Casey has a saying he's fond of, and he goes, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I'm like, that applies to a lot of areas of life. Like, my plan is just to keep rolling over at 0%. And then bam, they get punched in the face.
No more offers.
And, people start losing their credit lines and no more offers. And they're like, oh my God, everything's going to 28%. What do I do? And now, I mean, you mentioned the herpes club, but you said you had an answer to this because I don't have an answer because most of the people that call me have gotten punched in the face. So they're ready to say, what the heck should I be doing? I don't know how to get them to say, hey, you're going to get punched in the face next year. Let's talk about it now.
Here's the funny thing is, I told you I was doing a bunch of research. So actually it was yesterday or the day before that I went to ChatGPT and posed the question, I've got this great email list at getoutofdebt.org, and I'm publishing actionable stories that people can, read, current events, take action on now, but I cannot grow the email list. And to summarize what ChatGPT came back and said is, why would they want to join?
Because it's the herpes club,
basically what it came back and said.
Well, if ChatGPT can't fix it, I don't know what can, because I just found myself over the last week, our house has basically gotten entirely redecorated by ChatGPT.
Oh, your wife?
My wife's been walking around the house taking
Oh
photos
my
of things,
gosh.
and all of a sudden in
Yeah.
our hallway, I have there's a little, I don't know if you call it a bench thing, but there's 3 old books that got stolen out of my office, and they're stacked with a little fake candle on top of it. And I was like, this was like
Yeah.
a couple days ago, and I walked out. It looks
Yeah,
cool,
stylish.
I guess. But it was like, I was like, huh. And then I see my wife, she's taking photos of the couch. Oh, we have a new
Oh.
couch, by the way. That came
Okay.
in yesterday. We got this new couch on Amazon.
Okay.
$17.99, big, huge U-shaped couch. My wife said all the like furniture stores, these were like $4,000,
Yeah.
like crazy. And the couch we had that is replaced is like old school. We've had it for 10 years. It's gone through 3 moves. And I agree, it was about getting time. But the couch literally came in like 15 boxes. When Kathy took a picture, dropped on the driveway. 15 boxes. She put it all together, and it's a really nice couch for like $17.99. But she's she's taking pictures of every nook and cranny, and then based on then ChatGPT links her to the Amazon links for the pillows and this and that. And we have essentially and my wife's really good at decorating, but she's using ChatGPT as like an advisor, I guess. And we're getting a whole new ChatGPT
Well, I mean,
makeover.
look at your closet. Your wardrobe got a ChatGPT makeover.
Yeah. But she's doing it very inexpensively for what it looks like. It costs a lot more than it actually did, because everything is gotten from, she got these other things. I don't even remember what they were now, but she was telling me yesterday, they looked really like high-end, cool, like, wow, like cool, or whatever, for an accent or something in there. And she goes, dude, to move. I'm like, sweet. That's my kind of redecorating.
Well, I mean, here's a good ChatGPT moment this week. So, I'm building these things or making these red things. Anyway, so I've got a bunch of products that I'm making and learning CAD and 3D printing and all this stuff.
Are you ready to announce that yet? I didn't want to let the cat out.
I don't know if I'm going to announce it. But anyway, as part of that, I needed to build an electrical component, something that I've never done before. Circuit boards and transistors and resistors and all sorts of stuff. I have never done that before. I've never owned a soldering iron, none of that stuff. So I went to, actually I use Claude primarily, but I went to Claude and said, look, this is what I want to accomplish. Can you give me a shopping list for all the components I need to do this from Amazon? And it did, generated the shopping list, and I ordered all those parts. And then I said, I have never done this before in my life. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you give me a step-by-step guide? And it gave me a picture of each part that I ordered and a picture of it, and told me exactly which post to connect which wire to. And it's like 5 pages, but it's step by step. And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. AI is coming, man.
Yeah. So on that depressing note, I really don't want people to be depressed. I want people, if I had a magic wand to wave, I would want our listeners to carry forward the message to other people that, there is hope, there are solutions, there are answers. These 2 guys, primarily Damon, can get you through this shit. And, you don't have to give up. But I hate screaming about this stuff every week.
Well, not having enough money every month is depressing. Going to IHOP, taking your kids to get some breakfast, and it's $120 is depressing. Struggling to make all your payments is depressing. But what's not depressing is having all that debt gone and having cash. Cash in the bank makes you smile. Debt.
Yeah. Well,
doesn't.
Right now we have a problem where what used to be the American middle class it can't. Yeah, they can't hang
Gone.
on. They're losing the grip on the edge of the cliff, and they're sliding over slowly. But here's a problem that's been going on ever since I've been involved, and that is farming in America. I remember way back in the beginning, I had a client contact me who was a farmer.
We are farmers. See what I did?
That was
I tied
good.
that back into the
Very
little
good.
joke at the beginning. Yeah. I, thank you. I'll be here all week.
So way back in, 94, 95, somewhere in there, I had somebody contact me who was a farmer. And I said, well, there must be a solution to the farming crisis because farmers were going, broke in the late 1980s and early 90s. They're just going belly up. So anyway, somehow I got connected to like the American Pork Farmers Association or something like that. And I told them I'm looking for somebody to interview about how to run a successful farm. And they went, we got just the guy for you. This guy's a rural farmer. He's killing it. Ooh, that's a bad analogy to use. Anyway, he's doing great, and we really think you should talk to him. So I said, great. They put me in touch with him. I'm talking to the guy, and he's painting this big rosy picture. And I said, well, I think that's it, Bob. That's all my questions. He goes, okay, Steve, can I ask you something off the record? And I went, okay. He goes, I'm dying here. I can't make it. I'm drowning. And, this has been a problem that's been going on for a long time. And we've heard about the plight of the American farmer. And it is getting so substantially worse. And this is why I think it's important for people who are listening right now, is because as farmers drown and go under, the price of food and everything else is only going to go up because it's consolidating under just a few companies. Now, here's the reality today. And this is why people shouldn't feel bad. And this is why last time on the last podcast, I used an analogy about a farmer who plants his crop and it doesn't rain and he goes bankrupt. Does that make him a moral failure? It just means it didn't rain. It's just math. It's just weather. But the median American farmer right now today, as you're listening to this, the farmer in the middle of all farmers is negative every year, negative $1,500 a month. They're losing money. Every farmer below him is negative and isn't even break even. So half of American farmers are potentially not going to survive. They're struggling, they're collapsing, and this is why the farmer suicide rate is 3.5 times the general population.
Yeah, and it's and I said the same thing, right? Because I haven't looked into any of this stuff until you brought it up in the article. And what I said was, well, what can anybody do about it? And you're like, well, the average person listening to this would be like, okay, that really sucks. I feel bad for farmers, unless, of course, there's a farmer listening to this. But like you said, it's something that's just, it's happening, right? And costs are going up because, Steve, who's benefiting from these farmers going under?
So I did a whole bunch of other research on a second story because
I know you did.
Because the last thing I wanted to do was say, I'm a victim and this is all against me, or some sort of conspiracy theory. That's just not my style. But I wanted to follow the money. And my research came up with 7 groups who profit when American farmers go broke. And it comes down to the seed and chemical and equipment companies, the institutional land investors, large corporations, and even, you mentioned it, Bill Gates, who
Bill Gates,
is buying up all this farmland, and there's a reason why. And then they rent it back to the same farmer who wasn't making it before. And then, of course, the banks and credit systems profit significantly from people who are trying to borrow money to stay in the business. If you look at just the seed and chemical companies, for example, there's really only four of them, four major companies that control 60% of the global commercial seed market and 76% of the global agrochemical sales. And so they can really just set their own price. And then when it comes to farm equipment, I mean, have you seen, if you don't know how much like a new tractor is or a combine or something like that, a combine that you might only use 2 weeks a year is $750,000. You know, how are farmers going to afford that? Because since 2020, farming costs have surged. Like labor has gone up 47%. 2/3 of farm labor used to be transient workers, who we've been getting rid of. And there's no big, long line of American high schoolers that want to go out there and work in farms. Fertilizer's gone up 37%. It went up $100 a ton just because tariffs. Chemicals are up 25%.
Yeah.
Seeds are up 18%. And farmers are making less. Now, this is what blows my mind, is we all need food. So if these 7 companies, these are making more and more money each year, and farmers are going under, then there really has been no like political bailout of farmers to fundamentally change the way things work. And so, I mean, I've seen it now for too many decades. I don't think there's going to be a solution. And
No, well, the politicians are getting way too much money and pressure from the companies that benefit from this. So there is not going to be a bailout. And it's like, why are we talking about this on this podcast? Well, the reason is just almost like a microcosm of, this is not something that, if I turn the corner next month, the food prices are going to start coming down. Like this is the new reality, that prices in America they're not going to get back to where they were. They'll go up and down, but overall they're going to go up. They might come down a little bit, but they're not going to, you're not going to see houses the prices they were in 2011 again. In terms of Federal Reserve notes, we all call them dollars, right? In terms of dollars, just because of inflation, you're not going to get 2011 prices again. Things aren't going to get better. So it's like we talked about last week, Shawshank, you got to get busy living or get busy dying. The middle class is going away. It's not going to change. You got to get into assets. You got to get your money into something that's going to at least keep up with the devaluation of the dollar. But you can't really do that if all of your dollars are going to service debt from yesterday's goods.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to, step one, I was actually just on a call with the lady, and we were having a conversation about, should you hire a financial advisor for, investing and things like that. And we were talking about, it's important to invest, but you also have a whole bunch of debt right now that you're, eventually going to be paying 25, 28% on. So while investing is important and you should do it, you're not yet at a level where you need somebody to be managing your money. You need to be investing with some of these apps, Acorns, things like that, to get things going. But a vast majority of your focus needs to be getting rid of the debt. However, you need to get rid of that, because it's hard to justify throwing all your resources at investing when on the other side of the equation, you're paying 20%.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be all or nothing, right? You can get into an inexpensive money market Dow index fund and start just even $25 a week. Just start putting something away, like through Betterment or Acorns or, any other sort of platform. Just, you don't go all in.
Yeah, but the former middle class listening to this right now is like, I don't have any money to invest. So the problem with that thinking, and I get it. I know you think you don't have any money to invest because your bank account is negative every single month, and you're getting deeper and deeper into debt. But that's the problem. I mentioned earlier I made a joke about going to IHOP and it was 120 bucks.
You're not far
taking
off.
your family or whatever. And no, I'm exactly right. Because you ask me how I know, Steve.
Well, I just did a post a few weeks ago about how IHOP is one of the restaurant chains that has raised prices about 40%.
Yeah. I mean, you used to be able to get the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity, $2.99. Like, what happened to that? Like, I want the $2.99 Fresh and Fruity, bro. But here's the problem. And Steve, this is our favorite word. What's our favorite word on the podcast?
Hyperbolic discounting.
Hyperbolic discounting, because we go to the restaurant, we want to take our kids, it's Sunday or whatever, and have pancakes or whatever, and it's $120, and you go, my God, $120. But it didn't cost $120 because most of us are putting that on credit cards. And I know this is the old song and you've heard it a million times, and here's the Dave Ramsey spiel. No, it's much worse than that, because you think of it, okay, it's $120. I don't have the cash. I've got credit card debt. That's a problem I'm going to solve next month or the month after, or whenever you think you're going to solve it, but you never will. It just rolls over until you draw a line in the sand and make a decision to do things different. It's never going to change. It's just going to get worse. That's why we're talking about this farmer stuff and because it's just going to get worse. Everything's not conspiring in a conspiracy type of way, but everything is sucking more and more money from your limited pool. But you go to IHOP, you put that on a credit card because you have to, because you don't have enough money in your budget, and you're going to pay some interest, but in your head, you're just like, well, it's $120. That sucked. Well, no, it wasn't, because it's going to go on a credit card that you've been rolling interest on for years and years and years, because when's the last time you had no credit card debt? Probably longer than you can remember for most of you listening to this. And so let's just say it takes you 5 years to pay that off. You make a decision, you're going to Dave Ramsey your way out of this, and you're going to pay that off in 5 years. Well, that's going to cost you not 120, it's going to cost you about 224, according to ChatGPT this morning. And you're going to pay about $3.70 a month at 28% interest and pay that off in 5 years. And it's going to cost you $224. Now, you start to get into the hyperbolic discounting here, where you thought you paid 120, but you really paid 224. But it's so much worse than that, because what you never think about is the opportunity cost of, if you just did not go to IHOP that one time, stayed home, made some pancakes, eggs, just that one time, made that one different decision. And instead, you took that $3.74 a month. Doesn't seem like a lot, but Acorns can find that hiding in your change every month. You took that $3.74 or whatever it was. Over the same 5-year period, now you'd have $300 in your investment account, right? So instead of nothing at the end of 5 years with nothing but a meal 5 years ago, you'd have $300. And then you think, well, yeah, okay, it's $300. But wait, there's more. Again with the hyperbolic discounting, because now let's say you're 40 years old, you made that one decision one morning just to go out to eat, fine. What if that $300, you just left it in that money market, left it in that investment, left it in the S&P 500, whatever you have invested in, Vanguard mutual fund, whatever.
Do you have the math here in front of you? Okay.
I do. And you just left it in there for the next 30 years until you decided to retire. Average return is 8%, $3,000
for that one meal.
For that one meal. And this is where we always talk about hyperbolic discounting, right? Because that one decision, and every day we make tons of decisions that cost money, tons of decisions. The one decision to go to the restaurant or not go to the restaurant. And of course, someone's, well, but food costs, money at home too. Yeah, I get it. You can, argue semantics if you want, but it doesn't cost $120 to throw some cereal in front of your kids that morning or whatever it's going to be. But it's not $120. It's $3,000. And here's where hyperbolic discounting comes in, which is we tend to put emphasis on how things make us feel today, not what this decision is going to do to us or affect us in the future. This meal cost 70-year-old you $3,000. And here's what I can guarantee you. If that was on the menu for the price, and your family happily marched into IHOP, and you sat down, you got your water, and you looked at the menu and go, this is going to cost $3,000, you take your free waters and walk out. You would not spend $3,000, but we do it because we just think 120, and 120 is a lot.
We just need,
and that's not even what it actually costs.
need like a mental break. We need to treat ourselves to going out. Now, I just read a story about top chefs saying where is the best value for money when buying beef, and the places were Costco, Sam's Club, Publix grocery store. There was 5. But I was at Sam's Club this morning, and we got some really nice ribeye steaks for $14 a pound. You imagine going into any sort of even mid-level steakhouse and what they charge you now for a ribeye steak? Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm not sitting here saying don't ever go out, right? But I'm saying these little decisions are what add up to you eating dog and cat food at 70. Because they seem insignificant in the moment. But if you just start being present and aware of what's going on, think about it like this. Let's take it to just, you've got $2,000 a month that you're spending on credit card debt right now. Doesn't matter what the things were that you purchased. Doesn't matter. You can't change that. It's about doing better moving forward. You're spending $2,000 a month just trying to service credit card debt, thinking, maybe I'll get a bonus. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe costs are going to go down. They're not. When are you going to get out of this credit card debt? What are you waiting for? What do you think is going to happen that's all of a sudden going to allow without you consciously making a change? What is going to be different next month? What is going to be different next year that's going to allow you to actually start making some
progress? And how are you going to make up that lost time?
I'm paying this $2,000. Yeah. Now, you know what $2,000 would be? According to GPT, if you filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy or settled the debt, or Dave Ramsey, I don't care how you get out of the debt. Sometimes I do, depending on how bad your strategy is.
You can't,
Maybe I'll be like, nah,
you can't budget yourself out in these situations.
Not in these times. Not when you got Bill Gates controlling all the farmland.
Was it 225,000 acres he owns?
275,000 or something, according to your article. But there's only so much you can cut out of your life. And honestly, there's only so much you want to cut out of your life. You know, Dave Ramsey's get 18 roommates idea sucks. Like, that sucks. Like, I don't know about you, but my family would be like, what are we doing, Dad?
Yeah, who's living? Who's living in that room? Who's my new roommate, Dad?
Yeah. Oh, we needed the extra $900 a month, so George is going to live with us. But if you got yourself out of that, you made a decision to do things different, right? And there's lots of options, but you have to figure it out. You can't the status quo, just continue. It's hoping that's the most expensive option. That's the most expensive. Not making a decision is the most expensive because you are making a decision. But if you took that $2,000 a month and just said, you know what, my debt's wiped out. I filed the Chapter 7 or whatever. Now I have $2,000 a month. You put that in an investment account, a retirement account, and you're 40 years old. By the time you're 70, average return 8%. Steve, you have any guesses?
Shitload.
Well, I have the number in front of me. It's $3 million.
That's a shitload.
$3 million that you're giving away every month. That's what it's costing you not to get out of the debt. So when you come to me and say, well, my credit, I'm going to go, $3 million.
Well, Damon,
is your credit worth $3 million? And you're going to go, no, it's not. Thanks for changing my perspective. You know, how can I free up my cash flow so I can sleep
ever since I've known you, like 20 years, I've always said the same thing. And I would love to know if you can remember what your reaction was way back then when I told you the first time. I would tell my clients to write their 80-year-old selves a letter about what kind of cat food they wanted to eat.
Yeah, I mean, I use that all the time now because
and it's true.
From you. It is, but you know, when you're 70, and you just think about that. You can make some different decisions, and it's obviously more than just one. I'm not going to go to IHOP, but you start making some different decisions, some conscious decisions, knowing how much this stuff is actually costing you, knowing the true cost of carrying consumer debt month after month after month. A lot of this stuff we talk about is out of your control.
Yeah.
You probably individually can't do anything to help the farmer directly, maybe, right? But what you can do is help your family. You can see, I see what's coming. I see what's going on. I see as tight as things are now, they're probably going to be tighter next year. So what can I do? What decisions can I make, as Steve said at the beginning, before I get hit in the face?
Well, you just said something
right?
Very important, which was you may think that you don't have any choices right now, but the reality is you do. You could change your financial situation today in one fell swoop. You could make a fundamental change and move forward, protecting yourself and protecting your future, protecting your family. And yet people don't do it because they're held back by the Dave Ramseys of the world or
It's always the fear of the credit score. It's the fear of my security blanket is my credit score. And look, every situation is different. And I'm not Dave Ramsey-esque in the point where I'm like, credit doesn't matter. It's a hell of a lot easier to navigate life with great credit. I'm going to admit that, right? But there's a cost to that. Is having great credit or decent credit worth $3 million?
And when you ask people that,
is it worth $1 million? Is it worth 100,000? Is it worth 50? Eventually you get to a number where you might say, yeah, it's worth that. Right? So you have to assign a value to that good credit score. And you have to just be honest with yourself. What am I going to use this credit score for over the next 24 to 36 months? And how much is that worth to me? And if you're paying more money to service that debt than that score is worth to you, are you making the right decision? Is protecting the credit score more important than adding $3 million to your retirement portfolio by the time you retire?
Well,
I know it seems way off in the distance, and again, hyperbolic discounting. So that damn pancake sounds more important to me right now than $3 million, but eventually you'll probably get there unless you die before that, which is not what you're hoping for. Right. So don't be the guy that gets to 70 and goes, well, I wish I would have made some different decisions with my money because now I realize how much all of those things cost. And again, I'm not saying you have to deprive yourself. That's Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey will tell
beans
you to
and
sit in the
rice,
corner and eat top ramen. Yeah. Like, I'm not a proponent of that. I'm also, looking at, we only get one go at this life. I want to also enjoy it. But if I live to 70, I also want to enjoy that too. Right? So you got to kind of, in my opinion, you got to kind of walk that fine line. But if you're carrying debt right now, you need to make a different choice. You're making the wrong choice.
But Damon, I'm able to make
the
the monthly minimum payments. I must be doing okay.
No, you're doing the exact wrong thing. If you have credit card debt, you can't afford the lifestyle that you have. That's it. You're overspending. You're not, there's lots of reasons you could get in debt, medical debt, whatever. But right now, if you are carrying credit card debt at 28% interest, that's dumb.
Yeah.
You know it. You don't need me to tell you that's not a smart thing. So why are you doing it? The reason you're doing it is because you don't know how to get rid of it. You don't know what to do.
Or you're afraid to do it.
Guess what? Or no, usually they just don't know. And because they're afraid because they don't know the options, right? But here's the good news. I know all the freaking options.
Yeah, you do.
I can help you get out of the debt. I use this analogy on a call I was just on with a client. You're going on a hike and you come across this dark cave and it's scary and you don't know what the hell's in there. And that's why it's scary, because you don't know what's in there. But I come up behind you and be like, oh, hey, how's it going? Click, put a flashlight in there. Oh, there's nothing in there. It only goes back 20 feet, nothing in there at all. No big deal. I show you the path. There's nothing there. Oh, I'm going to go explore it. Now you're not scared of it anymore because you have a plan. You see there's nothing in there that's going to hurt you. You can do it. That's why people are stuck. That's why people carry debt, because they don't know a better option than the option that they're choosing, which is, consciously or not, you are choosing the worst option. Carrying debt month to month to month is the worst
Mathematically, it
that's
sure
what you're
is.
choosing. 100%. So you mentioned at the very beginning of this podcast, it's like we keep saying the same stuff. How do we get people to pay attention before they get punched in the face? I think we just have to just be as blunt as possible. Like, you're doing it wrong, bro. You're doing it wrong. Here's a flashlight. Let me show you some other options.
Well, this is why I took, I don't know, was it a year or two off from writing? Because I needed a brain break. This just sucks you down.
Yeah, but see, I get the yin and the yang with that, right? Because I'm not like heavy deep into the research and what's happening to the American farmer and all that kind of stuff. That's not my day to day, right? So I see all the negative stuff. I see what's out there. I get it from you. I get it from the articles, but I also get the recharge when I'm able, like the call I just had right before the podcast. It was a great call, and I went over a lot of the stuff with her, and she was just like, oh my God. And she's like so excited. I was saying a couple of things that she hadn't thought about, and then it was like she saw the light, like there is a path.
I've got options.
And I can see it. And she got excited about, oh my God, I can finally put together a plan, because she's just been struggling day after day after day, trying to keep everything afloat. She's like, I've never missed a payment before. And I just hit her right back with it. Well, that's the problem. The thing that you think is your goal is the thing that's standing in your way. And we need to take a step back and look at this different. And when we take a step back and we shine the light in the cave and we look at it different, it's like, and I showed her exactly how we can start getting her savings, cash in the bank that she hasn't had for so long. She got excited. Like, this is so exciting. This is awesome. I'm like, I know. And that's what gets me going again. I was able to take what she felt like was like an impossible situation, shine a light in there and go, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. She just stumbled across our podcast, and it was like a month ago, and she had a lot going on. So she just scheduled a consult for today from like last month. And she's like, I'm so thankful I found you, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I can't even remember the name of your podcast, but I'm so glad I did. So I told her, I was like, well, it's the Get Out of Debt Guy show, Get Out of Debt Guy podcast, pretty easy to find. But that's what really gets me going, is being able to help people kind of take a step back from their preconceived notions and show them different options and lay it out so they can see, oh, that is the path. I can see a path there, and I can see it's going to get me to where I want to go. And, it gets rid of those preconceived notions of I've never missed a payment. And I'm not saying when you call me, I'm going to say you have to miss a payment, but sometimes that's the right answer. It's, you're throwing $2,000 a month at this debt, month after month after month, and you're foregoing $3 million. Why?
Well, and people don't have a good answer to that.
You got to ask yourself.
Before I forget,
that's why you got to ask yourself.
If you want to get in touch with Damon, you can reach him through his website, Damon Day, DamonDay.com. Don't worry, I'll wait for you to pull over so you can write it down. Damon Day, DamonDay.com. And Damon, when they go to your website, besides seeing a just beautiful, professionally laid out website,
Steve put it together with AI.
They can schedule, they can reach you, and then it can lead to scheduling a free call with you.
Yeah. And guys, it's just the more options you understand and know, the better. And the biggest takeaway you're going to get from that call is I am going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge. And again, I'm not here to tell you do this or do that. I'm going to open your eyes to some paths that you're maybe aware of, but it's very muddied, right? It's very muddied out there. And I'm tooting my own horn, but these damn debt relief companies do not do what I do. Yeah. Bankruptcy attorneys don't do what I do. Debt settlement companies don't do what I do. Credit counseling companies definitely don't do what I do. There ain't no counseling going on there. Dave Ramsey, financial advisors,
absolutely
do
not
do what I do.
Absolutely not.
I've been doing this, 25 years now? People don't do what I do. I don't know why, because what I do makes sense. But they don't do what I do. And you don't have to take my word for it.
Hey, you can take my word for it. He's right.
Ask yourself the same question. Did anybody else do what Damon just did? The answer is no. But that's why the lady I just talked to got super excited when she got off the phone with me.
Well, it's like,
because nobody does what I do.
It's like when I would talk to somebody and say, well, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to call a debt settlement company, a credit counselor, a bankruptcy attorney, and then I want you to come back and let's have a chat about it. And they came back and everybody was trying to sell them their widget. But what was the plan that was best for them? And nobody out there, except for you, really does that.
Yeah, which is why it's refreshing, because it's like, because I always tell clients, look, the way we're going to find the right answer for you, and it's different for everybody. It could be a Dave Ramsey-esque type of a path. It could be a bankruptcy. It could be a settlement strategy.
Yeah,
it
but
could be
honestly,
lots of
Damon,
different things,
honestly,
right?
Have you seen anybody that can budget their way out of situations that we see today? No.
Very rarely, but I was going to say, if you're very high income, still, if you're high income, yes, you can do it with some sacrifice. But here's what I always tell clients, and it's not my position or place to say, you have to go bankrupt, you have to do this. But what I always tell clients is, look, we're going to find the option that you dislike the least. Because I always say, look, no matter what we do, you're not going to like it. It's going to be different. It's going to involve sacrifice, whether it's a credit score sacrifice, a lifestyle sacrifice. There's the way you've been living for whatever reason is going to have to change a little bit, whether that's your credit score's dropping, you're going to, George is going to move into your house. I don't recommend that, but something's going to change. So you're going to dislike what we have to do, which is why you haven't done anything. Which is why you've stayed the status quo. But the only way to know what is right is to look at everything. And you say, I really hate that. I hate this a little bit less. I dislike that, but not as much as all this other stuff. Right? But the only way to know that is to look at everything. So why doesn't the debt settlement sales guy?
They don't want to lose the sale.
They don't want you to look at something else that might not be what they have, right? So everybody's got their own professional bias where they want to just convince you that what they have and what they get paid for is right. Same with me. I'm a professional too. I have bias. Clearly, if you listen to the podcast, I have bias. I think I'm fucking awesome.
I think you are too.
Very biased advice.
No, I think you are too.
But here's the difference. I'm getting paid to be a consultant. That's what I'm actually getting paid for. I'm getting paid to show you all these options. You're getting what you're paying for. These other guys are not getting paid to help you figure this stuff out. They're getting paid to convince you to do it.
I just wrote about it'll be out tomorrow, a debt settlement company that was sending out emails to veterans talking about how if they didn't contact this number that they were going to lose their veterans benefits. And of course that number led to, a sales wing of a debt settlement company that was trying to scare people into buying their solution. If you need to fool people and scam people into buying something that they don't need, that's not a financial advisor.
I think we need to branch out with our business model, Steve. I think what we need to do is have like a hotline. We need to set up a hotline, okay? And the idea of this hotline is going to be, if you get anything in the mail at all, any kind of a phone call, anything, anybody that you don't know calls you or sends you a letter, you call our hotline. And when you call our hotline, we're going to have a recording that just says, yeah, it's bullshit. And that's it. Because it's bullshit. When's the last time? Just think about this. When's the last time you got an unsolicited phone call?
Somebody contacted
or
you.
Or knock at the door or a letter in the mail. And it was like so awesome. Like, oh my God, this is like the greatest thing ever I've just been offered. This opportunity, this whatever. When is the last time you took advantage of something unsolicited and it worked out like it was supposed to work out? Never. Everything's bullshit. Everything.
Yeah,
So that's my idea. Just people call, it's bullshit. Oh, thank you. I'm glad.
And if you don't want to call the hotline, you can go to getoutofdebt.org. Scroll to the very bottom of any page. You'll see all the free tools. And there are a couple there that can help you decode what this thing is that you just got really quickly. One is the Scam-O-Meter, right? I'll have you
It's more eloquent. The scamometer is more eloquent than it's bullshit. But I could sum it up for you.
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
One of my favorites, though, is the contract decoder. Because when you get contacted by one of these companies, if you say to them, hey, this sounds great, I would like to see a copy of the contract that you want me to sign, they are going to tell you no, they're going to hem and haw, they're not going to want to provide it to you. Because if you feed that into the contract decoder, it'll show you exactly how you're getting screwed.
Yeah. But these are so complicated. If you don't feed it into something
you're not going to know.
It's very easy, especially when you're stressed and you don't know what to do. I just wish I have so many conversations with people after they've hired certain companies, and we start going through it. We look at it and we go, this doesn't make sense for you, especially if you're on.
Oh yeah, the 87-year-old on Social Security that I had come into my chat and say that they were enrolled in this debt settlement company for 2 years.
My gosh. It's just those are the ones that really get me going. If I could give you one piece of advice, it's completely biased, but if you're considering hiring some debt relief company, just call me first. I mean, I'll give you some different perspective. And then if you want to go hire the settlement company, that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
you do
whatever. But at least you'll have a different perspective. And to my knowledge, I don't know if anybody's ever hired a debt settlement company after talking to me. Maybe they have. I don't know. I don't hear back from everybody after I talk to them once, but I think it's very unlikely because I'll point out some Captain Obvious type of things that the salesperson doesn't point out, and you'll go, huh, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because this doesn't sound like as good a deal as I thought it was. But again, you might listen. It's just my opinion. I'm just some guy, right? Everybody's got an opinion. You know what opinions are like.
Yeah.
It's just
neither you nor I want to tell people what to do, but we want to provide them with the information so that they can make a fully educated decision.
Yeah, which is, the way to go about it, especially when you're dealing with a lot of debt. But again, at the end of the day, I think the theme for this podcast is if you are carrying consumer debt and you've been carrying it for a while, you are doing life wrong. We need to change it. And there's no time to change it. You can't fix what is already happened. You can't fix that. But we can do better moving forward and just continuing to carry this debt because of, well, I feel an obligation or, whatever it is, or my credit score is the holy grail or whatever. I will give you a different perspective. I will give you a path out of the problem that you have, out of the stress that you have right now. It's still your choice whether or not you want to walk down that path. But I at least will shine the light on that path for you and show you there is a better way, multiple better ways than just continuing to carry debt month after month after month because you're costing yourself potentially hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars by not taking action.
Well, one of the things I always used to say is, look, you've been struggling for the last 5 years trying to pay this off. You're not out of debt and you're still struggling and things are getting tighter. The only thing you're doing is trying to repair the past. Wouldn't it make more sense to repair the future? And of course, everyone agrees with that.
Yes.
So let's do that.
But then the old hyperbolic.
No, I can't do that. I can't do what would people think? I can't do that. All right.
Yeah.
You do you.
Again, you can bounce your fears off of me, and I'll push back if it's warranted, and you can take that for what it's worth, right? And I'm sure I've talked to people and told them what they were thinking is not a good way to go, and they thought I was wrong.
Yeah, but
never called me back because they were like,
no. There's a big button there because we both had clients like this. I had the client who took my contact information and shoved it in the bottom of her purse. And then 10 years later, when things got really bad, she pulled it out and contacted me. It's like you've told the story about the 10-year-old client that contacted you and their situation was the same, but the numbers were much bigger.
Yeah, well, the situation was worse, but their perspective had changed because they had grown 10 years and realized that path was a very expensive 10 years. And they realized that what I told them 10 years
was
ago
true.
was
Yeah.
the right way to go. And then they called me back and we did exactly what I told them we should do 10 years ago. And she was out of debt in, I think, 18 months or less. It was like 12 to 18 months. We were completely done. And we're talking
she wasted,
multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Anyway.
Oh, she doesn't even want to know how much she wasted that she could have invested over that decade, because it was a couple $100,000 that we had to deal with.
Which would have been millions in retirement.
And because it was the idea of we were going to settle the debt, and she couldn't get past that idea of missing payments in order to gain some leverage to settle the debt. Now, she wasn't a client of mine at the time. It was just one phone call we had where I was throwing out some ideas.
She wasn't ready for it.
She wasn't ready to, to not to act on the idea, but just to get, when clients hire me, they hire me for information. They hire me to be a consultant to help them walk through this stuff. And once in a while, it always kind of makes me not laugh, but I'll send out an engagement letter to somebody that needs to hire me or should hire me. And I'll get it written and I'll say, hey, I hadn't heard back from you like 2 months, a month later or whatever. I'll send a text like, hey, hope things are going well. Never heard back from you after a call, which is fine. If they don't get back to me, I don't hound you. Trust me. I don't have time. If you have a consult with me and I don't hear back from you, you might get one text just to check in.
You still alive?
You got my engagement letter, but but other than that, you won't hear from me. I don't have a follow-up system. What the hell is that? I don't have time. But sometimes they'll respond back and they'll go, yeah, I got the engagement letter. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do yet.
All right.
And I respond and I go, that's fine. But remember, that's why you're supposed to hire me, to help you figure out what to do. So people kind of get confused because they're just so used to, like getting a sales pitch or something like that, where it's like, oh, they're trying to get me to hire them to settle their debt or whatever. And they're like, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet. I'm different. You're hiring me to help you figure out what to do. And if you,
I like it when people say,
right?
I can't make a decision. Well, you know what? You just did.
Not making a decision is a decision. But again, that's one of the reasons you hire me, to help you get through that paralysis of analysis, so you can get the information you need, so you can make that decision. Because every month you don't make a decision is another month you lost $2,000 or whatever you're spending on.
I do have to say, as we wind this up, that my Ask Steve chat that I have on the getoutofdebt.org website, when I read those chat transcripts and I realize, how people come out the backside of those chats with actionable information they didn't have before, that does make me feel better. It's just researching all these stories. The title for this podcast should probably be, farmers are fucked.
Yeah, but keep in mind how it relates to you, the individual.
It's coming.
Listening to this stuff, because this is just one little thing with the farmers, right? And it's I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but it's not just going to all get fixed by some magical policy or anything like that. And prices are going to come back down, and it's going to be 2019 again. And the current income that you have is going to be enough. That's what people are missing. They're getting so
and you're going to be
frustrated
rich again,
because they're like, like my income is the same. My lifestyle hasn't changed. How come my credit card debt is now $100,000?
Yeah.
Why is that? I'm not doing anything more than I was doing 5 years ago. In fact, I'm doing less. But that's because the economy is passing you by. You're still trying to trade time for dollars. You have a job or whatever it is, and you're not getting enough dollars to cover the increase in expenses, or the inflation, if you want to call it that. You have to have free cash flow so you can get into assets that will keep up with the economy.
That's why
you're not going to be able to earn your way ahead.
This is why 10% of the population owns 90% of the stock market. If you're not in the market and you're not having your money work for you, and you're just struggling making it month to month, and you're paying interest and you're limping along, and what will my payment be? This is why you're going to be poor. Yeah.
And you can't say, I don't have any money to invest. You do have, if you have a job, you do have money. You're just giving it to Chase and Bank of America and Citibank and American Express every month. You're choosing to give it away. And if you're choosing to give it away because you don't know what else to do, give me a call. I'll show you some other options so you can take the money that you already have and allow it to start working for you to at least keep you afloat in this economy.
All right, Damon, on that note, I will see you.
None of this was scripted. This is all ripped off the top of our heads. Hopefully it came out okay.
It's good, honest advice, that's for sure.
I woke up and had no idea what we're going to be talking about. But I think it was good, right? I mean, it's pretty in your face. Like, it's simple. In debt, get out.
Yeah.
Simple. You don't know how? Call me. Done. We could have done this podcast in 30
Yeah, but it would be, that wouldn't even be a bathroom break.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty-o. Peace.